What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's hashtag homeless. It's day 70, and tomorrow morning, it's Thursday right now, but tomorrow morning will be the 10th week of homelessness. 10 weeks exactly tomorrow morning at the time that I'm recording this video, unless something comes up and I can't record the video at the normal time. So yeah, things happened this morning. I've got updates. So Google, I don't know what's going to happen. It's one of these things like I was talking about yesterday. Don't worry about the worst case scenario, because chances are things are just going to figure themselves out. But I got an email. So Google, once you get monetized, you have to give them your tax information. And so I gave them my tax information. And I got an email back saying it was all approved. Well, now I get an email first thing this morning saying I have to give them proof of my identity, my proof. And it says in very bold, all capital letters, very clearly it says, all of your documents must match, including your address, your physical address. Well, when you're homeless, this is another way that they like to screw the homeless, because you need proof of address for everything that you do in society now. You can't get a bank account if you don't have a physical address. You can't just go to the post office, open up a post office box, and then use that to go get a bank account. A bank will not allow you to open a bank account without a photo ID that has your address on it, and the address has to match where you live, or at least it has to be a physical address. And when you get into all this crap, especially nowadays where they're verifying everything digitally, everything has to match up, or you're going to have problems. And so right now so today, all week long, I've had all kinds of stressful appointments and all kinds of stressful things to do. And today was supposed to be my day of a relatively stress-free day where I could just focus on getting some things done, and I didn't have to worry about running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I'm not going to worry about this situation because I've got some time to figure out what I'm going to do. But I don't have a local bank account. I don't even have a bank account with this current address listed. I don't have any official documents of any kind with the address of the homeless shelter. And even when I talked to them about it this morning, they kind of looked at me. They're like, why do you need that? And kind of like gave me this attitude about it. And I'm like, how is this not something that you guys deal with on a regular basis when homeless people need some sort of verifiable address for whatever situation that they're in? Like, so the way I'm presenting it to them is I want to open up a local bank account, so when I get a job, I have a direct deposit. But I mean, I have a place to have a direct deposit that's a local bank, but the local banks won't let you open an account without a proof of address and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just sitting here like, what the hell do you do? I mean, this is just another example of, like I was telling you, when you're homeless and you have to pee, just having to pee becomes this fucking nightmare. Because there's businesses in town won't let you walk in and go to the bathroom. So right now during the day, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Jamestown Public Library is the only place in the entire city that I'm aware of, unless you walk a couple miles outside of town to where the outlying neighborhoods are. It's the only place in town that you can walk in and go to the bathroom without having to buy something from somebody. The only place. And most businesses here won't even let you use the bathroom if you buy something from them. So even the places where you can pay to use the bathroom are limited in Jamestown. And it's like that in most cities. It's like that just about everywhere. But having to have proof of your address can become, for a normal person, any of you who are watching this, you have a house, you have a place to live, you have a home, etc. This would be 3 clicks of the mouse and you're done. You've uploaded your documents. You can walk away. You don't even have to, it's not even something that you would worry about. Oh, send them my copy of my ED. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. That's it. When you are homeless, these kind of small things become multi-week hassles that consume more of your life than you can imagine. just getting my driver's license when I got out of prison was a 6-week nightmare. I had to wait for documents to come in the mail. And I had a psychotic nut job ex-girlfriend that I was living with, and she didn't want me having any mail sent to that apartment, even though that was my residence. She was getting mad at me because I was trying to get my driver's license, and she's screaming and yelling at me. On one hand, she's screaming at the top of her lungs, "You need to get off your lazy ass and go find a fucking job, you fucking lazy piece of shit," and all this other stuff. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, well, I gotta wait until my photo ID comes in the mail. I don't want you having a fucking driver's license with my fucking address on it. Who the fuck do you think you are? This is not your home. You're just staying here until you figure things out. And I'm like, well, until I figure things out, this is my home. This is my address. So I'm like, well, how am I supposed to go get this job that you're screaming and yelling at me about without a photo ID? You do understand that you need a photo ID when it comes to the I-9 documentation and all of that. Don't you fucking tell me what the fuck you need to get a job. I know what you need to get a job. I own a business. You don't think I know anything? Well, you don't call me stupid, you fucking asshole, and all this other shit. And so I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you, you fucking cunt. I'm going to go to the DMV and get my driver's license with your address on it. You can go fuck yourself. I don't care. So I did it. And the day that my driver's license showed up in the mail, I was thrown out into the street. And so already on the very first day that I have a photo ID in my hand, the address is already wrong. And now if I get proof of ID or if I get proof of address from somebody, I have to go back to the DMV, pay another fee to get my driver's license changed, and then wait 2 weeks for an updated photo ID card to show up in the mail with the new address, and that's if I can do it. So this is all like, why do I need to worry about that today? I've got enough to worry about on its own. Today, don't worry about tomorrow, because today, you worry about today because tomorrow can worry about itself. You know, the Bible teaches us this. But this is the kind of nonsense this is the kind of emotional abuse that I was going through living in that freaking apartment, getting screamed and yelled at to go get a job. And on the flip side, you know, not being able to get a job yet because I don't have a photo ID, getting screamed and yelled at because she doesn't want me getting any mail in the apartment. And she doesn't want me having anything with that address on it associated with me. And I'm like, well, you dumb bitch, what the fuck do you want me to do at this point? So I'm going to let that go. I hope she's watching these videos because, honestly, she's the biggest scumbag I've ever met in my life, and I don't care if she's watching these videos and hearing me say it. I'm not going to dox her. I'm not going to say her name, but this is the kind of bullshit that I was putting up with for 6 weeks before I was thrown out into the street. And then once I got thrown out into the street, my stress levels went down by about 50%. I mean, you're seeing the animosity come out of me just now because I'm having flashbacks of the nightmare that I went through living in that apartment for 6 weeks with her. It was one of the worst 6 weeks of my life, and in some ways, prison was better than living there. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, on the flip side of all of this, one of the things that you start to feel like when you're going through this homeless nonsense and you're dealing with this kind of stuff and these little tiny problems that become major hassles because you're homeless. Major hassles. Things that would, in a normal person's life, be not a hassle at all. It would be a 5-minute task, cross it off your list, and be done. But for a homeless person, this can be weeks of misery and problems, and it snowballs. And it just makes you feel, it makes you realize that when you fall like this and you hit rock bottom, our society and most people in it, they want to stomp on your fucking face and just shove you into the ground as hard as they possibly can. And every time that you try to pick yourself back up, someone wants to come around and stomp back on your face and shove it back into the ground and try to prevent you from picking yourself back up. That's the society. We don't live in a society where people who fall have a chance. People who fall, they want to keep you down. They want to knock you down, and they want to bury your face into the ground and break your skull just to prevent you from being able to get back up on your feet again. And it's just one thing after the next that you have to fight back against just to exist. And that can bring a brother down, man. It can really knock you, it can really bring you down mentally. And so because of that, that's one of the things that I think about, and I'm thinking about this morning, that if I hadn't done this YouTube channel, if I hadn't created this YouTube channel and started talking to all you guys, I think I would be in a much worse place mentally than I am. Because when I log into my computer and I go to my email and I log into this channel after the videos are uploaded, and I see all your comments, and I see all the encouragement and all of the kind words and all of the support that you guys are handing out left and right. I mean, there are trolls. There are people that come and want to stomp on my face and try to keep me from standing back up on my feet. And they show up in the comment section as trolls and haters. And, you know, that's going to happen. No, I can guarantee you that no matter what channel you do, it doesn't matter what your content is. It doesn't matter what you talk about. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter. There are going to be haters coming to your party to try and shit all over the place. They're going to try and take a dump in the punch bowl. So that's what they do. And you just have to realize that that's going to happen. But it's 19 out of 20 comments, 19 out of 20 people who reach out to me are nothing but positive and supportive and encouraging. And just knowing that there's good people out there and knowing that there's that kind of support out there, it's encouraging when you are discouraged because the world just keeps throwing you curveballs one after the next. To see that there's people out there trying to encourage you and trying to say, hey, you know, don't worry about it. You know, God's got your back, and all the different things. Just the fact that you guys come and leave these comments, it's encouraging, and it's helpful. It's helpful more than you can possibly imagine, because if you're in this kind of situation, those little things add up big time. It gives me the energy to get through another day. And believe me, I've got enough problems today, aside from this proof of address nonsense, that, you know, I've got plenty of other problems to worry about right now. And I can talk about that a little bit, but I'm just going to jump around a little bit. Some of the crazy things that you deal with, like I said, the library. The Jamestown Library is the only place that you can go to the bathroom during the course of a day where you don't have to buy something from somebody. The homeless shelter would probably let me in if I had to go real bad and had nowhere else to go, but they kick everybody out at 9 a.m. You're not allowed to come back until 4 in the afternoon. I don't know why they do that, but I think that they say it's so that you get the hell out of there and go look for a job. So the Jamestown Library is basically, we could rename it and call it the Jamestown Daytime Homeless Shelter, because that's where everybody goes. And so you got all kinds of the misfits of society, myself included. We're all going in there to spend the day for one reason or another. And so, like I said, it's the only place you can go to the bathroom other than walking out into the woods. And when you're a guy, that's not a big deal. I do it. But, you know, if you're a woman, it's a little bit more difficult. And if you're a homeless woman in Jamestown, I feel sorry for you, because there's no place to go sit and go to the bathroom without paying somebody to do it. And so yesterday I had to take a pee. And I walk into the bathroom at the library, and what do I see? There's a guy standing at the urinal with his pants pulled all the way down to his ankles. He's standing at the urinal. He's buck naked with his ass hanging out and everything. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I'm just like, wow, man, what did I just walk into? But I had to go to the bathroom, so I did what I had to do. And I just looked at it like a situation where if I can make myself pee in an extremely comfortable situation, it might help me a little bit more with all the problems that I have, you know, peeing in a cup with some asshole staring at me whenever I'm forced to do it to take a drug test or something like that. So I just looked at the situation like it was a stress test. And since I had been holding my pee for about 2 hours while I sat and tried to get some work done, it didn't really matter. I had no problems getting it out. But needless to say, I got the hell out of that bathroom. I did not wash my hands. I got out of there as quick as I possibly could. Like I said, the library is the Jamestown Daytime Homeless Shelter. In fact, sometimes you go into this bathroom and you'll go to the toilet, the little stall. I like to have my little stall, like I like to have a little pee apartment, kind of like it feels like you're in a private little bathroom instead of the urinal. I've always been like that. So if the stall is open, I'll go in there, but sometimes there's a big giant puddle of pee on the floor right next to the toilet, as if the person decided, you know, I got this perfectly good toilet right here, but I'm just going to take a piss all over the floor instead. And I'm not talking like a couple of drops. I'm talking about like a Wendy's Biggie size cup full of pee all over the floor. You know, like I said, the toilet's right there, but somebody just decided, no, I think I'm going to go on the floor. I mean, who does this? I mean, there was one time I went into this bathroom, and I feel sorry for whoever has to clean this room, I'm telling you. But there was one time I went in there, I had to drop off the kids at the pool, but the stall was so disgusting that I couldn't do it. It was like someone took a log right out of the toilet and started drawing all over the freaking walls like it was a freaking crayon. And I'm just thinking to myself, who the fuck does this shit? Who does this? And it's like, so now when I see stuff like this, I can totally understand how people like Joe Biden and Kamala and these Democrats get into power. I mean, these are the people who vote for these turds. I'm sure the same guy who wrote all over the bathroom wall with a stinking Lincoln log is the one who actually voted for Joe Biden in 2020. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but these are the kinds of things that you deal with when you're homeless, that if you have a nice place to live, if you have a crappy place to live, a crappy apartment would be a million times better than what I'm going through right now. I would take a crappy, roach-infested, roof-leaking, paint peeling off the walls apartment right now than anything I'm going through right now. Even if it had bed bugs, it would be an upgrade. I'm serious, man. I'm so serious. It's so bad. And Jamestown is just the most dysfunctional place on earth. So yesterday, I spent most of the day working on this multi-page presentation for this job inquiry that came up. And basically this document I'm putting together, I have to answer 17 in-depth questions, and not just with text, but also with screenshots of my projects and sketches and other materials to back up the answers that I'm giving them. And I'm closing in on about 16 hours so far spent working on this document, and I'm probably going to need about 4 to 6 more hours to finish it up, but I will have to finish it up today, and I will just send it out, whatever state it is. You know, I'm going to make it as perfect as I can, but I am, by lunch or shortly after today, that document has to be out the door, because, you know, these things are somewhat time sensitive. I didn't have a deadline to get this back in someone's hands, but if I take much longer than 48 hours, it's going to be a problem, and I might miss out on an opportunity because of it, because it is kind of a race. Quality over speed at this point. I think the document that I'm giving them is going to be better than the stuff they're getting from most people, but they might have gotten stuff from people already, because I'm probably one of several people that they reached out to provide this information back to them. And so I had to make a decision in my mind. Do I do something quick and dirty just to get it out the door, or do I put some quality into it and see if the quality gives me a leg up over some other people? So I made my choice. I'm sticking with it. And either way, if I don't get the job, if I never hear back from this company, it's not going to be a waste of time. I'm going to repurpose the work that I'm doing. In fact, the Zoom job interview yesterday that I had for the $200,000 a year job, I joined the Zoom meeting 5 minutes early, and I waited around for about 10, 15 minutes after the meeting started, and the guy never showed up. The guy was already 10 to 15 minutes late, and I get an email asking me if I'm in the meeting, and I replied and I said, yeah, I'm sitting in the meeting. It says I'm waiting for the host to join. couple minutes later, he shows up. And so this was scheduled for a half hour, just a brief phone screen kind of an interview. And so he just jumped right into asking some pretty pointed questions, but it was cut short, and he said he had another meeting to attend at 3 o'clock. And this was supposed to start at 2:30. And so we kind of went back and forth. The guy was friendly. It was kind of disconcerting but he was having technical issues. He said for whatever reason, he kept clicking on the link to join the meeting and it wouldn't let him in. So these things happen. It's not a big deal. It happens. I've had technical difficulties joining a Zoom meeting for a job interview before, and it's stressful. But I think people in this line of work, we all understand that these things happen. So it wasn't a big deal for me or for him. And, nobody likes when those things happen, but they happen all the time. So because I'm working on this question and answer document for this other company, after I finished writing all of the text and having it verified by Grammarly and making sure that there were no glaring mistakes or misspelled words or anything like that in the document, I took this text-only version of it and I sent it to the guy at the end of the day, because he asked me to send him my portfolio, other links, and other information. And so I sent him that document attached to the email. And I said, look, I'm sending you this document because since our meeting got cut short today, maybe there are the answers to some of the questions that you wanted to ask me during today's phone screening, and this might be a way for you to get some of those answers without having had the chance to ask me directly. And so there were the first two questions I took out of the document because they were specific to the company that I'd be working for, but I sent him the 15 questions and answers document. At the same time, I sent him my portfolio and all that stuff. So that document that I'm putting together already became useful for a reason that it wasn't made in the first place. And so I've already repurposed that document to do something that it wasn't intended to do in the first place. I spent more time last night refining that document. It's probably 7 pages long so far, and by the time I'm done with it today, it's going to be between 10 and 15 pages, probably closer to 10, but probably more than 10. And this is a formatted document with graphics and typography, and it's definitely it's at least the 20 hours to put in on my job search this week for social services is covered by this document alone. The 20 hours I'm putting in on this document is enough to cross that off my list. So, but another way to repurpose this document is it's helping me gather and organize some content that employers want to see more than my finished products. They want to see how you brainstorm and how you work your way from a blank sheet of paper or a blank whiteboard or a blank web page through to a finished product. They don't just want to see the finished product in your portfolio. They want to see your sketches. They want to see your design process. And so this document is actually helping me refine and organize some of that content and gather some of that content from a bunch of different places and putting it in one place. And I'm writing good copy to go with it. And so it's not a waste of time at all. I'm going to be able to repurpose this document I'm going to use this document to create some more slides for my slide deck portfolio. And it's going to be a whole slide deck, or it's going to be a section of this slide deck related to my design process, from ideation and from a project inception. What do you do when a project is handed to you, all the way through the research that you do, how you approach design, and how you iterate through to the final product, not just the prototypes, but getting it from a prototype, a well-formed, high-fidelity prototype, into a fully functional web application. So it's a 17, there's 15 questions and answers in this document that I can turn into 15 to 20 slides on a slide deck to explain the entire process. And then I can hand this document off to future employers or direct them to it to look through it And it's only going to increase the amount of good stuff that I have to show people. And between that document, between updating my portfolio and the changes I made recently to my resume, I might start getting a little bit more traction when I start reaching out to companies. So right now I'm in the running officially for 3 professional jobs, each with 6-figure incomes. And until I hear otherwise, that's a good thing to have. That puts a little bit of hope in the jar. And, the more hope I can save in the piggy bank, the better my mental state becomes. And so even if one of these companies reaches out and says, we're not going to take the next step, we're not going to move forward with you, good luck in your job search, etc., blah, 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 I've still got 2 in the bucket. So we'll just keep, I'm just going to keep plugging away. The more you do, the more it's a numbers game. It's like I've said in other videos. You go to the bar and you hit on 50 women and 50 women slap you in the face, but the 51st woman goes home with you. Well, did you really lose? You still won the game. So if, right now I've had, in terms of a job search, I've had about 250 women slap me in the face. But if woman 260 decides to come home that night, then boom, I'm a winner. So I don't have to talk about the 269 that slapped me in the face. At the end of the day, I won the game. So who cares? Speaking of, I also got a hold of this woman who was looking to hire someone for that cleaning position that I talked about yesterday. But it actually turns out that she's looking for more of a maintenance person, basically like a handyman for a couple of buildings that this company owns. And basically just general maintenance, like changing light bulbs and fixing broken things and unclogging drains and painting and whatever else they need done. And I thought that sounded really good in terms of a laid-back job, a lot better than slaving away in a hot restaurant kitchen during the dinner rush, certainly. And it's very close to where I'm staying at the homeless shelter right now. I'm talking a 5-minute walk or less, both buildings. And I really didn't get the vibe from talking to her that this would entail any kind of invasive background check or nonsense like that so far. And I have an interview scheduled for next Wednesday on this job. So it's part-time, 25, maybe 30 hours a week, but it would put some money in my pocket. It would allow me some freedom to work on other projects and continue looking for another job, and allow me certain days of the week to schedule interviews and all that kind of stuff. So I'm all for it. I'm willing to do that. It's set up for an interview next Wednesday. So between the 3 professional jobs and the possible maintenance job, I have 4 interviews in the bucket, and 4 jobs that I'm waiting to hear back from now. So now that we're talking about jobs, something I saw on LinkedIn, in my LinkedIn feed the other day. I saw something very interesting, and out of all the places, it was LinkedIn where I saw this. I can't believe I saw this thing. In my feed on LinkedIn, just random feed from a random person, it wasn't anybody I follow, I saw a photo of Donald Trump with the phrase, "the man who gave up everything to save America." And you heard me right. This was on LinkedIn, of all places. Honestly, I don't think in my entire time on LinkedIn I've ever seen a political post before. Now, that might be different for some of you watching this video, but me personally, I've never seen people talk about politics on LinkedIn because it's a scary thing to talk about. People don't want to lose their jobs. I remember a friend of mine posting a photo of herself with Hillary Clinton, but that could have been on Facebook. I don't even know if that was LinkedIn, and that was way back in the day. I'm talking like 2016. So 47,000 people liked the post on LinkedIn of Donald Trump with the phrase, "the man who gave up everything to save America." 47,000 people liked that post, which tells me 47,000 people on LinkedIn were no longer afraid of losing their job for liking a pro-Donald Trump post. Now, think about that for a minute. Just let that sink in. How far have we come since the day where your coworkers finding out that you voted for Donald Trump would be the reason you lost your job? So I go back into LinkedIn an hour later, and I see a guy giving CPR and mouth-to-mouth on a dying monkey laying in the street. That's the next thing I see on LinkedIn. A video of a guy giving CPR followed by mouth-to-mouth mouth-to-mouth on a dying monkey laying in the street. So once again, I can't go a single day without seeing the animal rescuer post on LinkedIn. And I mean, LinkedIn is just nothing but weird, cringy, brown-nosing, ass-kissing, look at me, I'm a good person kind of posts. But LinkedIn, this all reminds me of something I saw every single day, probably 6 to 10 times a day when I was in prison, up on the TV screens that they have in the cell blocks. There was this LinkedIn commercial that they would play 10 times a day at least. And it was like, it made absolutely no sense to me. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There's like this little girl hanging out in a dirty, dingy laundromat in the ghetto of New York City or something like that. And she goes to she goes and she takes a man's shirt and tie and starts dancing around a laundromat with a shirt and tie that's way too big for her. And then I'm just thinking here, I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with LinkedIn? Why is this little kid all alone in this dirty, dingy laundromat? Is she forced to work at this dingy, dark laundromat in the ghetto of New York City against some child labor laws? Or does she need to find a new sweatshop job? Like, what does this have to do with LinkedIn? Why is this little girl putting on other people's clothes and dancing around? And then there's all these other outfits dancing around that don't have any people in them. And it's just like this, and there's like this rave music going on, and they're all dancing around this laundromat. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck does this have to do with LinkedIn? I don't understand this at all. But ever since I got home, I have not seen the stupid commercial. But the commercial was, honestly, this commercial was cringier than the posts that I see on LinkedIn every day. But since I got home from prison, I haven't seen the commercial once, but I don't really watch TV either. So I think everybody else who saw the commercial wondered the same things I did. And but I'll put a link to the cringe-inducing commercial here in the description below if I can find a link to it later today. And then you can see what I'm talking about. But enough of me trolling about LinkedIn. I'm going to talk about the trolls instead. And one thing I have seen, and I saw some of this yesterday as I was watching, I do watch other homeless YouTubers' channels. Not just for information, but just because some of these people, their personalities are cool and I just like hearing what they have to say. And boy, if I thought I had to deal with some asshole trolls in my comment section, when I read the asshole troll comments on other homeless YouTube channels, they are brutal. Some of these people are absolutely brutal on these other channels. You know, honestly, it's a good thing that you can't just reach through the screen and smack some people upside the head, because if you could, things would be much different online if you could do that. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, the judge in my case, he called me an internet bully who says things that he'd never say to someone face to face. And, you know, in my case and in the things that I said online, I would have to generally agree with what he said, especially when it came to my own case. I think a lot of people fall into that trap. You know, even the Democrats the last few weeks who've been running around saying they wish Donald Trump got his head blown off and wishing that the shooter hadn't missed. You know, I doubt that they're walking around at work saying that out loud, you know, unless they're at some hipster tech startup where everyone is saying the same thing and they have no risk of being fired over it. So I'm going to do a little time check here because I'm kind of at the end of what I wanted to talk about, and I just want to see, we're at 34 minutes. I might just keep it a little shorter today and get over to the library. I do have a lot of things to be grateful for. You know, we started out on a sour note, but I'm going to end it on a positive note, and I'm just going to breeze through the gratitude list. Once again, I'm thankful for my good health. I'm thankful that things have generally gone smooth this week. I'm thankful that I've got these 3 six-figure jobs waiting in the wings to possibly get my hands on. I'm thankful that I don't go hungry. I'm thankful that I was able to get a hold of that woman at that one company for the maintenance job. I'm thankful that there are other irons in the fire. And I'm thankful, even though the library gets a little crazy at times, I'm thankful that there is this local library with a workstation for me to sit at and feel like I have a desk to work at and feel like I have a space where I can actually accomplish things. It's been very helpful. And I'm also thankful for you guys, the super fans who made it this far. Without you guys in the comment section and all the encouragement that's being thrown my way, I honestly feel like I would be in a very much, much, much worse state of mind than I am right now, especially dealing with some of the things, going 10 weeks of homelessness, still unable to find a job. So I've been 16 weeks out of prison and I still can't find a job. This is daunting. I know that job searches in my past have taken 7 months easily. I've had at least one take 7 months. There could have been another situation where, get away. There could have been another situation where it took longer than that. But, job searches are not easy. I know there's a lot of trolls in the comments that say just walk your ass over to McDonald's and get a job handed to you. It doesn't work like that, people. It does not work like that. I was told by so many people that as soon as you walk out of prison, there's so many companies that are desperate to hire people, you won't have any problem finding a job. Well, I've been to all those companies and I do have a problem finding a job. Nobody wants to give me the time of day. So once again, if you want to get on the email list, if I can't verify my identity with Google and YouTube, they might shut down the channel. I don't know. That's the worst case scenario of what might happen. Get on that mailing list. It's free.litgood.com. Drop your email address in the box, hit the button. You're going to get an email sent right back to you that has a link to download free wallpaper images for your desktop computer and mobile devices. If that email doesn't show up, just reach out to me. I'll get it to you. It's easy. Shop.litgood.com. I'm going to be updating that once again, probably with another 4 or 5 photographs for sale. The YouTube shop, I have to synchronize that with the Etsy store. So I'm probably going to do that before I add anything new to the Etsy store. But the Etsy store at shop.litgood.com is going to have whatever the latest stuff is for sale. The other shop that links to this YouTube channel, where you'll see some of the photos for sale below the video if you're watching it on your phone, or if you hit the shop button on the channel page, it'll take you to a place where you can see some of this stuff. Once again, two stores, as the preppers say, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So I'll treat it as if I have 1 store. They should, over time, when I have time to make sure they're in sync with each other, they will have the same products with the same prices, and everything will be the same between the 2 stores. And I'll probably open up a 3rd store at some point, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do this. You can check out my photography at litgood.com, and the digital chicken bucket, once again, is donate.litgood.com. I know some of you trolls in the comment section are angry that I have that set up, even though I said it when I first started doing this channel, I wasn't going to do it. Oh well. So other people left in the comments that they wanted me to do it, and that I was stupid for not doing it. So, as a user experience designer, sometimes you have to give the customers what they want. And even though you think something should be a certain way, when you have half of your customers telling you that it should be another way, usually it's better to listen to the customers. And so I'm just taking that concept to my channel and giving the people what they want. And when I look at YouTube channels, I'm not going to name the guy's name, but there's one guy who I watch on the regular. And he, like I said, he drives around in a McLaren. Okay, he drives around in a McLaren and he shoots half of his videos while he's driving his, $500,000 sports car. And he has a donate button in the description. And he takes people's donations. So, I mean, if you're throwing money at him, I mean, an oil change on a McLaren is probably $8,000. I don't know, but I mean, or you can throw money in the chicken bucket here and buy me some coffee at Tim Hortons so that I can use the Wi-Fi all afternoon. And, I think your money's, you spend your money where you want to spend it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm on the socials: Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and probably some others. I did see a couple of you pop up on Rumble. I've saw a couple of you pop up on Facebook. Thanks. It's cool to hear from all of you guys and gals. And right now, the one that I'm focused on the most is Twitter. And so if you're looking for an all-you-can-eat meme buffet, check out my Twitter account in the description below. Sign up. I've got something like 54 followers on Twitter right now. I'm trying to get up to 100, and that's my next goal. And out of the 54 followers, I think 50 of them are bots, but I don't care. It's just a number. The higher the number, the more real people will want to follow me, and so that's fine. If I get up to 10,000 followers on Twitter and 8,000 of them are bots, so be it. It just makes the number look better, and when people come to my Twitter account, they'll be like, "Oh, he must be an important guy. He's got 10,000 followers. Well, now I can follow him because he's important." So that's how people are, and so the higher that number, the better. And in my professional life, you can find me on LinkedIn, really easy to find. And, if any of you professionals out there want to connect, I'm easy to find. You can branch out from there and check out my portfolio and my user experience design and graphic design portfolio and projects. And if you're interested in anything like that, I do run a freelance business that I founded the day I came out of prison. And I'm currently working on projects in that space as well. So, busy day ahead of me today, like any other day. And so that means I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you for now. But thanks for showing up. You super fans, thank you for making it to the end. You help the algorithm. Smash that like button. Boom, boom, boom. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because that algorithm will show me the love when you guys show me the love. So thank you for that. And I hope y'all have a good day. I hope everything goes your way. And we'll talk tomorrow. Peace out.